Okay, good morning. I'm Emma Mercier from the College of Education, and I'm going to talk today about classrooms as device ecologies, really building on the work that I was doing in the UK, integrating multi-touch tables into classrooms, and the work I'm starting to do here, really thinking about how do we design classrooms for the future. But first I'm going to start with a picture of my desk. I took this photograph last week while I was preparing to teach my class about attention, learning, and multi-screen use. I'm apparently good at the multi-screen use part of this, perhaps not the attention. But I was struck, as I really often am, at how incredibly integrated technology is into our lives. I was reading for my class on my iPad, papers that I'd uploaded from my computer. I can be sitting in a waiting room for the doctor's office, making a to-do list on a shared Google Doc and hope that my students back in the lab are reading it and are getting on with the work that needs to be done. I can be in my car talking on the phone through the speaker system and then park and get out and continue the conversation. So technology is incredibly integrated into our lives, almost all of our lives, because then you walk into a classroom and it looks like this. Some of you will recognize this on-campus classroom, or it looks like this. This is the classroom that I was working in the UK. We do not see technology integrated into classrooms, despite the fact that there are decades and decades of work done creating fabulous pieces of technology to teach kids about a huge range of contents. Why is this the case? I think one of the reasons this is the case is because when we create technology for learners, we think about the technology and the learner, but we don't think about the learner in the classroom context. And this is where learning really needs to take place. So what would this mean? It would still mean thinking about the learner and the technology, or the teams, which I tend to think about collaborative learning, not individuals learning. And we really do need to think about how they interact with the technology and how the technology supports their learning. But we also need to think about the teachers and the technology. How can we actually make this easier for teachers to use? So the top photograph here, you can see the teacher's actually, she's got a very short set of menus where she's doing things like sending content to the multi-touch tables the students are working on, freezing the tables so the students can no longer work on them and she can get the whole class's attention, or clearing them, taking what they're working on and projecting it to a shared display to have a whole class conversation. And you can imagine this scaling up to any sort of technology. You don't need multi-touch tables. If the teacher can control what the students are working on, it's much easier to actually orchestrate the learning experience. In the bottom photograph over here, something different is happening. The teacher's actually looking at a tablet, and what she's getting in this is the live updates of the mathematical expressions the students are creating. They're flagged in red and green, and this is a very simple example of how you can use the data the students are creating in the moment to help inform the teacher. So when they're flagged in red, they're incorrect, and the teacher can very quickly see which student needs her help, which student's making mistakes and which students are doing fine and can be left alone, or perhaps are doing fine and actually need the task to be changed, so it becomes more challenging for them. You can imagine, though, taking all the data that students are creating on technology in the classroom, doing some interesting data mining on it, seeing how we can improve the pedagogical decisions teachers make in the moment or over the course of a curriculum, and also thinking about how do we create the best way for the visualizations for teachers to see these in the moment, rather than providing them with a huge amount of data. There's a lot of work to be done around creating good visualizations for teachers. We also need to think about the tasks and the technology. This is a screenshot from when I Googled apps to teach slope. There are lots and lots of different apps to teach slope. There are lots and lots of different apps to teach all sorts of things. But can you imagine if every time you went to write a paper, you had to learn how to use a new word processing software? And this is what we ask teachers to do all the time. The software isn't the same. There's a whole set of different tools that they have to learn, that they have to teach the kids to learn, and then they have to actually get into the content they're trying to teach them. So really thinking about how tasks and technology should be integrated better is important. And of course, these things actually all actually overlap in a whole lot of more complicated ways. The teams, the tasks, the teachers, and the technology should all be thought about as a whole system, not as just an individual piece. But I don't have time to go into that today. Thank you.